Too many times on the border, but how do you break up with your friend? I know there's no use to confront her, but how do you say this is the end? I'm through being taken for granted, the one you're calling nobody's home. Being with you means just disappointment, and last escape, so I've been told. Don't bring that bomb to my door again, my friend. You know that you've been crying wolf too many times, but this time I know it. Been there, I've done that. Those words are just sand in my head. So talk if you like. The words will be words till you.
We gotta do that Kelly Clarkson hand.
So talk if you like.
I love it.
The words till you bring them to life.
Welcome to the show. That was Talk, Talk, Talk by Anya Gold and St. Michael. That is our theme song. And that is, I love that line. And I know it is such a great line. And it's Love Rain's favorite line. I was going to change my theme song. I really was, because I found another song that I love. But when the first time I had you on my show, Love, and you said, that is such a powerful line. Words are not words, so you bring them to life. And I was like, you know what? Endorsement from Love Reigns is like winning the Oscar. It's like, it's the Nobel Prize of podcasting. And I was like, okay, that's it. I'm sticking with this song until they, yank it off the airwaves and say you can't use it anymore, till they revoke my copyright and say I can't have it. So thank you, Love Reigns, for joining me again today. Words are not words till you bring them to life. It's such a powerful line, and that's why I chose that song to begin with. I'm not even gonna tell you what the song was I'm gonna replace it with, because it's not worth it. I'll save it in case they make me, give up this one. But
do you know why it stuck out to me? Because it stuck out to me because it reminds me of it's a song by Sarah Bareilles. She's what is the song? Brave by Sarah Bareilles.
Yes.
I love that song. And in that song, she says, say what you wanna say, and let the words fall out.
Yes.
I love, that's what it reminded me of. So that's why it stuck out to me.
Great song. I do like that song. Yeah. And now I got to pay the copyright because you sang more than 3 seconds of that song. No, that's funny. But no, I do love that song. Welcome back to the show, Love. I appreciate it. This is Let's Catch Up with Mike. I'm your host, Mike Batter. Love Reigns, one of my favorite people on the planet. Top 3. You're up there. My mom and my husband. You are like, I've seen, and and your mom is number 4. So I mean, come on, you're up there. So, but Love Reigns, for those of you who don't know who she is, shame on you. But if you don't know who Love Reigns is, it's on you. So, beat poet, DJ, author, performer, Amazon influencer, show host, MC, actress. I mean, she's done it all. She's my sister from another mister, my sib from another crib. She's Love Reigns. I mean, come on.
I love that. My sib from another crib.
She is. That. You are. You're my blood.
I love you so much.
I love you so much. You are just absolutely. You just someone mentions your name and I light up. You are just. I just love you. You're my bubala.
Oh yes, bubala.
My bubala. But yeah. So welcome back to the show. I just you are just a delight in my life, and I love having you on. Anytime I can trick you into coming on my show.
I will always answer the call. For you, I will do anything.
You know what? That is such a compliment, because I will ask you, I will text, just so my audience knows, I will text Love Reigns at a weird hour on a weird day, even when I know she's busy and I'm like, oh, she's got an event, I can't text her. But if I don't do it now, I'm going to forget. And I will text her. And within seconds of like her show starting or her show ending or whatever event she's doing, the response is always anything for you.
Yep.
It doesn't matter. I mean, I know she's like, I mean, unless she's at a funeral or in a wedding. Like, I know she was.
Even then, it was like, look,
Even
just give me
then.
2 seconds.
I knew she was. You were at somebody's wedding, and I'm not going to call people out. You know, I don't do that. But
Yeah.
you were at somebody's wedding. I know you were at the wedding. You may have even been performing in their wedding, and you messaged me like you were like, at a wedding, boo, get you back. And then like it was like maybe an hour later. So like the wedding was just wrapping up. You were like, anything for you, let me know when. And I was like,
Yeah.
dang, on it.
That's for you, man. Listen, and you know it's crazy.
babes.
Not everybody gets that response from me. Some people might get a response a day later or a week later, or not at all. I mean, it's not intentional, but it's just,
I know,
you know,
but
it's
it goes both ways. You know, it goes
Yeah.
both ways. You know, it goes both ways. So this is my heart right here. Love reigns. And today we are talking about, it's part of my Pride series. That's why I got the flag up, the new progressive Pride flag, which I love, has whoops, I got that the wrong way, has the new intersex logo included with it, which I love because we are LGBTQIA. We've got to have all the letters represented. It doesn't mean everyone has to use this flag.
Right.
If you want to use the traditional flag, if you want to use one of the other flags with the trans flag or the bisexual flag or whatever flag speaks to you. Yeah. But if you are talking about the community in its entirety, you should use the flag that is the most progressive flag that includes the most up-to-date representation of the community.
Absolutely.
So use the one, if you want to use the bear flag or the leather flag or the trans flag or just the traditional pride flag or the original pride flag that has, you know, all these colors in just the stripes. That's great. Use the flag that speaks to you. But if you're talking about the community in its entirety, I think it's so important to use the most up-to-date flag. So I found this one online. It's only been out literally for like this year. It came out, I think, the second week of June is when this flag was released. So I've slapped it on whatever I can slap it on. I mean, I found a sticker of it online and I was like, coffee cup.
I love it. And that actually reminds me, I'm going to start adding that to the closet for sure. So thank you for that.
Steal it. It's online. I mean, I found it online, but you can grab it off my Facebook. I've put it on everything I can find to put it on. So I'm slapping it on everything. So last year I put it on, is it this mug? No, I saw a different one, but I found a sticker of the one that was most up to date last year. Started sticking it on travel mugs and stuff because I was like, people got to see it. If they don't know it's there, they're not going to use it. So it was this one without the
without the circle.
Without the circle. It's so tough when you're used to seeing yourself a certain way. But so today we're talking about pride and what it means to you in your everyday life, how you carry pride, how do you wave your flag, how do you carry your flag. And I know for just intersectionality in general, for women, for people of color, for people of different backgrounds and religions, the intersections are so vastly different sometimes, but they're also not that different.
Right.
And that's why we need to come together and talk about these things. I mean, I've had people on in this month of Pride. I feel like last year Pride got canceled, not just because of COVID, but just because it just did. I mean, we had so much going on last year.
Last year was really, really heavy. Like, and you're right, not just because of COVID, just everything. It was just a lot of stuff.
The last year of Trump, I mean, we didn't know if Trump was going to be around another 4 or another 50. We didn't know if he was going to change the Constitution and be a dictator. Like,
listen, he was close.
Were just tired.
He was definitely close, and So last year was heavy.
So the question I'm posing to you in the most roundabout way, because you and I never stick to a topic, I'm going to make this today. What is pride in your life? How does pride speak to you? How do you carry this flag and wave it in your everyday life?
The way I carry it and wave it in my everyday life is just being me, showing up exactly the way I am, authentically and truthfully me. I'm not, I always tell people I'm not a rainbow wearing lesbian.
Wait, you're a lesbian?
Right. But it's just, for me, I wear it in who I am. I show up as me, And that's how I wear it, you know. And it's kind of like a you know, take me as I am kind of thing. You know, this is who I am, this is how I'm going to show up. Either you rock with it or you don't. And if you don't, then it's your loss. So
Yeah.
that's how I wear it.
I love that. I do love that because, you know, I've had people on who talk about, you know, I had a guest on who said, I don't know if I should be on your show because my story is kind of boring. Philip, who was my last guest, you know, he said, my story is boring. I said, but your story will speak to somebody.
Yep.
You know, and you know, my first guest, Drew Hunter, who the unofficial mayor of Springfield,
Yes.
who everyone knows Drew. He's not like you. Everyone knows you, right? And there's a way that your story will speak to somebody, and it's just that way of, if you can reach one person with your story and say, someone says, oh, I can relate to that because, you know, Philip's a professor at a lecturer at UF. His story may be boring to him, but it's going to reach somebody. So your story may be that of, I wear my pride, so to speak, as part of my everyday identity, but that speaks volumes.
Yeah.
That you just kind of are that, take me as I am. That's awesome, but that can't have been easy the entire time you've been out. When did you come out? What age?
It's still not easy.
I know it's not. I know, but when did you? What age were you when you came out the first time? Because we're always coming
yeah,
out.
I was say the first time.
Yeah.
I was like, I've had a couple of coming outs.
Yeah, right.
I think the very first time that I actually came out, like really uttered the words, was when and this is gonna sound like, to some people it might sound sad, but you know, I mean, we're talking like 15 years ago, and I've gone through a lot of healing or whatever. But I was Baker acted, you know, for attempting suicide. And I was in an institution in Tallahassee for a minimum of 3 days. My first phone call was to my mom, and I told her in that phone call that I was gay and pregnant. And that was my very first time ever saying the words, right? And I was 20, 21, I think. So that was the first of many coming out.
Yeah. And so that was obviously life-changing and a pivotal moment for both of you. And her, I mean, I don't want to necessarily, unless you want to get into the reaction, but it could not have been easy for both of you. And then when you continue to come out, I mean, I know you well, so I don't want to lead you, but your coming out has been mixed reactions. You get good and bad, you know, positive and negative, but your professional life coming out has been mostly positive reactions.
Yeah, surprisingly, which was that, you know, that surprised the hell out of me, really, honestly. And because for so long, it was kind of like, in terms of my professional career, I was afraid to come out. I was afraid, even though I felt like people knew, I was afraid to own it. And when I found out that my leadership, that they knew already, it was kind of like, duh.
Right. But you're a Black woman in the South in a professional setting. You never know how that's going to go.
Exactly. You know, you don't. So it's just like, okay, I've already got 2 strikes against me. You know, I'm a woman, I'm a Black woman, and I'm a lesbian. Like,
right. In an at-will state.
Exact. That
where they
part,
could, and for people watching outside of Florida who may be in a state that's not an at-will work state, what that means is they tell you an at-will work state is to the benefit of the employee, and it's never at the benefit of the employee. It basically means they can fire you without cause, and they don't have to tell you why they fired you.
Yep.
And it's almost always for something they've made up.
Yeah, exactly.
And they can fire you because you're gay, and they can fire you because you're black, and they can fire you because of your hair color or texture or your clothing, or because of the way you speak or the way you smell or the way you look. And they, as long as they don't tell you why they fired you, you can't sue them.
You can't, because that, you can literally get fired at will.
Yeah.
Just because. And my professional career, as far as, especially when it comes to coming out, it's been interesting. I mean, it was mostly positive. There's been some really iffy moments. I remember one time, and I love her, I do, and I knew she meant well, right? There's one of my leaders, is a white woman from Minnesota, and she meant well, but at one point I didn't have a direct supervisor.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really just she was a senior VP, so I was reporting to her directly. And so she hired someone, and she's like, "Oh, I can't wait for you to meet him, and he's amazing, and you're gonna love him, and he's gay." She's like, "You guys are gonna get along so well," and I'm really excited. I was just like, okay. So that was an interesting moment. But a lot of times too, especially not only being a lesbian in the South, but being a Black woman, period. Even if you just remove the sexuality, being a Black person in the South, there's a lot of times where you just have to bite your tongue, and you have to just kind of grin and bear it a little. So that was definitely one of those moments where it was just like, all right.
You kind of brushed up against something. I get this a lot, and I know a lot of gay men get this a lot, of the oh, my cousin's gay, you probably know him.
Yep.
So I know, and I'm just going to paint with a broad stroke for a moment. I know there's the assumption of older white people, they assume, and it may be a generation that's now passed,
Right.
but older white people have had the gumption to think that all Black people know each other.
Yes.
So do you I'm embarrassed to even admit that I'm part of that race. I've never been part of that school, and you know that about me, but it's embarrassing to know that I'm related to that just by association.
It's funny. It's funny to me though.
I know, but so do you fall into that group of assumptions that all Black people know each other, and also all gay people know each other, and so all Black women also know each other? So you've got all of those.
Yep. He's like, I know everybody. Like,
you're a lesbian, you must know so and so. Oh, you're Black, you must know so and so. Oh, you're gay, you must know this other gay person who might also be a man, but also is Black, but also is gay. So
or this person is gay. I would love for y'all to meet because you have an instant connection.
I thought of that line from Boys on the Side with Whoopi Goldberg and Drew Barrymore.
Oh,
and the mom, Mary Louise Parker's mom, goes, "She's Black and a lesbian."
Like, oh my god.
And then she goes, "Yeah, Mom, she can be both."
Right. That is a thing. That is definitely a thing.
Like she can only choose one. You can only have one thing. You can only have one strike against you. You can't pick both. Like she wanted a challenge. Yeah.
Right. Clearly.
She felt like she needed an extra challenge, so she chose.
Yeah. Let me drink. I'm gonna drink again so I can show my cup.
Oh yes, love wins. I have to tell everyone. So when that campaign was going around to legalize gay marriage, we kept seeing these love wins signs in people's yards, and we're driving. And I know you know the story, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm telling for the sake of our viewers. We're driving around the beach, my husband and I, and every time we see a love wins sign, my husband was like, oh my gosh, stop, we have to steal one for Love Reigns, because I'm like, we're not going to steal these signs. That's vandalism. And we support the movement. We want people to have these signs in their yards. So I said, next time you see one, I will pull over and take a picture and text it to her. And he's like, okay. So we're driving down First Street, which is a narrow street in Jacksonville Beach, in Neptune Beach, actually. And we're driving, and you can't make a U-turn there even if you want to, because the roads are so narrow. And so Jeff's like, I'm driving, and he just screams, stop. And I'm thinking I'm gonna hit like a turtle or a bicyclist. I'm like, what? And he's like, love wins. So I was like, oh Jesus. So I slam on my brakes, and I throw it into park, and I just jump out of my car, and I snap a picture really quick, and people are staring at me. I'm like, probably almost caused an accident. I snapped the picture in the yard, and I texted it to you right away. And I got back in my car, and I drove off. And you're like, you didn't even, no context. You just wrote back and said, this is why I love you.
Yes,
like, yeah.
it is.
I was like, you just knew it had to involve me and Jeff. And you know, based on the houses, you knew it's like they're at the beach, and they probably caused an accident and gave this picture.
But a lot of people do that. Actually, I just got one last week. If matter of fact, Ma Hamilton saw one.
I love
Thursday, so and she sent it to me, and so I still get it. So I'm like, okay, to me, this is a sign. I'm gonna come up with my own signs. And,
I love that people have saved those signs, because they're just little cardboard yard signs, and that they've lasted. People have preserved them well because they've lasted this long.
Yeah,
I think it's great.
Yeah, I'm gonna come up with some.
This is 6 years ago.
Yeah.
6 years ago.
I had one. Story. I had someone actually did steal one for me. I didn't know they stole it. Until I came home one day, and it was in front of my yard. And I was just like, he was like, yeah, I stole it for you. I was like, oh.
Making us all look bad.
Right.
Actually, I was thinking making all the gays look bad, but I just realized that's the Wanda Sykes joke about making all black people look bad. So I don't know if your friend is black or gay or both, but
he was black and not gay, and it was just like, dang it.
making all the black gay people look bad.
Exactly. Like, I'm flattered, but dang it.
Run, brother, run.
Right. But it was cool.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so now we're off topic again. You realize that. I promised we wouldn't be. But actually, I think all of that falls under pride, you know?
Yeah, it does. It does.
But so I want to ask you, so all of the performances that you've done, and there are myriad performances, a plethora of performances that you've done, that are all very personal. I don't think any of your shows have been roles that you've taken on. I mean, you are an actress, but they're all personal roles. Even the ones where you're not playing yourself, they are a version of yourself. And they're all you. They're all Taryn. They're all Love Reigns. You are telling your story, and your story is immersed in showing your pride. And you do it with such vigor, and you don't shy away from the painful side of what you've been through. And I'm going to say this, and it's a little bit about you have to forgive the source, because she's of the generation. I won't say who, because it would embarrass her, I think. But she's of the generation we just talked about, the older white generation who, kind of compares all, oh, she's black, so she must have gone through this. She meant it in the best possible way. But, she and I were talking the other night about, we were watching the Genius Aretha miniseries, and she said it reminded her of the Tina Turner story. And that we also talked about the Billie Holiday movie, the two Billie Holiday movies, the one that Audra McDonald had done based on her Broadway run, and the one that People versus Billie Holiday that Audra Day had done. And all powerful performances and all wonderful actresses and all deserving of the awards that they won.
Yeah.
And the women they portrayed were just so many things came out in those stories that, I mean, I'm fans of all of these women, the actresses and the women they portrayed. And I'm such a fan of music that I felt like there's nothing about these women I don't already know. And we find out about the abuse and the horrible things that happened in their lives that were kept out of the press, sometimes out of respect, sometimes out of really good PR, sometimes out of just, you know, families doing a really good job of keeping secrets. But, you know, when this woman made the statement, she said, well, I feel like a lot of Black women artists are abused and hurt, but it makes their stories and it makes their songs more powerful. It makes their art better. I know she meant
right.
their talent comes from pain.
Yeah.
And I couldn't help think about you because I know you so well.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm saying this out of love and the utmost respect. And I know you've been through some shiz. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I don't want you to get into stuff you don't want to get into. But I know some of the pain you've been through. And you mentioned Ma Hamilton, and I was just immediately taken to that. I was going to say the moment in the church when you and I were sitting there after rehearsal one day, and we were talking to your mom on the phone, and we were laughing about it was a childhood story. I won't get into any of that either, because we've actually talked about that on another episode. Because it'll get us off track again. I don't want to get off track again. But after you hung up with her, you and I were talking about something totally unrelated. And I said, I didn't know that about you. And it was something painful, but you've been through a lot of pain, and you've been through a lot of, I'm just going to call it suffering for the sake of your privacy, but it has brought out a lot of I'm going to call it torch song. It's brought out a lot of heart-wrenching things in your performances that I know you have the talent to pull off if it wasn't there, but I know it's real, and I know it's that gut-wrenching stuff could not come out if you hadn't lived it. That takes guts. That takes vigor. It takes piss and vinegar, as my mom would say. It takes piss and vinegar to put that out, not just for people to see, but to relive. And you do relive it every time you get on stage, even if it's just a little bit, even if it's just enough to kind of give to the audience to say, you know, I'm giving you this, but I'm taking it right back.
Right.
You know, I may not be putting it full on display, but here it is, and now it's gone. You know, and you do that in every performance. Sometimes it's full out, and sometimes it's just here, nope.
Yeah.
You know, and I see you get me emotional because we talk about we talk about stuff, and but I just want to say that that's part of pride.
Yeah,
that's part of
it is. I mean,
pride. I guess there's a question in there, and the question is, how do you do that? How do you put yourself? How do you get through that all the time and not just become a mess?
So the short answer is I don't always. You know, there's times where
make me spit.
Sometimes I'll perform and I will break down literally in the middle of a performance. You've seen that.
Or in the car on the way home.
Exactly, in the car, exactly. Or I will, right after I go and go off into a corner somewhere and kind of gather myself and break down. I think once I decided to love me authentically and love me wholly and completely, which probably, I'm 38 now. That didn't happen until well into my 30s, you know. But once I decided to do that, I said to myself, you know, my story, this story, it needs to be told. And I want to tell it because I want people to know that, you know, I'm here. I'm still here. No matter, like, look at all this stuff I've gone through and look at me still here, right? Look at me still, you know, up here performing and doing the best that I can. And look at all the stuff that I've gone through. And it's not to shine a light on, you know, look at me. It's to literally say to someone else who might be going through something similar, to say, oh man, if she made it, I can make it. You know, if she was able to get through whatever the thing is, then I can too. So I want to be able to give people that vulnerability. And then also, what I'm learning now is that there's power. There's so much power in vulnerability. There's power. Your story is your story. No one can take that away from you. And there's power in that. And if you have the notion to own your story, how powerful is that? You know,
Right.
that nobody can take that from you and nobody can use it against you if you own it. Right? This is who I am. These are the things that got me to where I am. And look at me still standing. Look at me still being able to smile, even in the midst of all the stuff that's going on. Right? Last year, like we were saying, last year was heavy, especially being, you know, like, it was heavy for everybody. But if you imagine for a moment being a Black lesbian woman living in the South with everything that's happening, you know, I remember I had an interview with someone and I was saying, you know, it's hard. I'm afraid. At one point, I was scared to leave home, not just because of COVID. I was scared to leave because I'm Black. I was scared to leave because I'm a woman. I was scared to leave because I'm a lesbian. Like, it was just so many things happening, and it still comes and goes, you know, because not only do you have to contend with society and the foolishness that society tries to put on you and the boxes and labels that society tries to put on you, being a lesbian or, you know, identifying as a lesbian, but then you're not accepted in the Black community because you are a lesbian. So it's like, where does that leave me? You know, where does that leave my Black queer self? Right. So that's been tough. And I've decided to just own my story completely and wholly, and just live in that power.
I love how you are. I don't know how you do it though. You're nonchalant and passionate in the same vein.
Yeah.
I mean, you say it like this is just how it is.
Yeah.
But you say it with the vim of someone who's like, you know what? Fuck it. You know,
Yeah.
like
That's how it is. I mean, and honestly, the reason it's not easy, you know what I mean? It's not easy at all. There are moments where I'm literally in here in the corner rocking, you know,
yeah.
and crying and bawling my eyes out. There's times where I don't get out of bed. There's times where I just want to lay in bed and cry and weep, not just for everything that's happening in my life or has happened in my life, but also because of the ways of the world. Like, I'm an empath and I feel everything so deeply. And sometimes that, for me, sometimes it's not always a good thing, because when you feel things so deeply, especially with the weight of the world that goes on, that's happening, it cripples you.
Right.
You know, but what I'm learning to do is to honor those moments, you know, in those moments where, because before I used to hide it. Before I used to just slap on a smile, or if I'm bawling my eyes out and somebody wanted to talk to me or they needed to talk to me, I tuck it away. I wipe my tears and I just do it. Now I'm at a point where I'm just like, okay, I have to honor those moments, especially once my aunt passed. I have to honor those moments. I have to honor those moments. And if I need to cry and weep all day, I do it. if I need to shut myself off from the world, I do it. And I don't explain it. And I don't, and I feel like I don't have to explain it to anyone. And I think that to me, that that lends more authenticity to the story and to just showing that, hey, I don't have it figured out.
Well, and you know what though, you're not expected to, and
Right.
you've learned that about yourself, and a lot of us haven't, and
Yeah.
guilty, because I'm one of those people. I mean, I did it last night. I was up until I don't know what time, texting with somebody who needed me. And that's, you know that about me. My husband has learned that about me. It's like someone's like, I need you. And I'm like, yep, I'm on it. And texting. And then I'm like,
yeah,
all day the next day at work.
right.
But if I need someone, I'm the last person to tell them I need them.
Yep.
To my own detriment. Yeah, yes, I know. You and I, yeah, we're twins. But other than the hair, people get us mixed up all the time.
Right. My mom was there.
I know. You've been this short before.
I have. But even in those moments, right? Like it's, if it's still okay, right? It's still okay to do that if you have the capacity. Yeah. But if you don't have the capacity, you don't owe that. You can't carry that, right? It's not yours to carry. And because I'm learning it, and I've done it like since my aunt passed. My mom I've been trying to be there for my mom in that way, no matter what, no matter how I'm feeling. Like one time she was like it was 2 weeks ago, and it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I was tired, and she could tell that I was falling asleep. And so she said, well, I'm going to let you go. And she's like, well, I sure miss my sister, because she stayed up and talked to me all time, and she wasn't saying it to sit for me to stay on the phone, but it was just like, to me, that was just like, all right, let me get up. I need to be, something for my mom right now. I need to be present for her. So I still do it, but for her, not for everybody.
Right. And that's the thing. It's like you have to pick and choose, or you're gonna burn out for those who need you. Because not everyone who says they need you actually needs you.
Right.
And that's what I need to figure out. So and that, I know it feels like it's gonna sound like if somebody jumped in right now, they'd be like, they're not even on topic. But this is all part of pride.
It is, yeah.
Because that's the thing about, it's when someone asks me what is my religion, I have two answers that I always give. Love is my religion, and the second one I usually change up the way I phrase it. But if it's someone says in one word, sum up your religion, I either say love is the easy answer. Love is my religion, and community is my religion. And the reason I picked the second one is because regardless of what your faith is, whatever religion you subscribe to, I don't believe in organized religion, because it usually causes wars and, people protesting and yelling things they shouldn't be yelling at people. But community is, because it's in every holy book in the world, regardless of what language it's written in, regardless of what religion it's written in. When two or more are gathered in his name, that's church. Right. So it doesn't matter if it's a temple or a church. It's like a Catholic church or a Buddhist temple or whatever. When two or more are gathered in his name. So to me is the same thing about pride. If you live your life as you are, and we are born this way, this is our pride, right? Yeah. So, girl, we went to church today.
We're gonna pass it. Put your Cash App on there.
Girl, let me get my cup. Let me get my. Where's my hat? Pass it around. Dang. Pass my hat around. Get my little half Jewish hat, half Jewish ass around that hat. Uh,
Oh man, that's funny.
call Pastor V.
Right.
Get her up.
Bless the offer real quick.
I know, girl. Come on. Dang. Now, coming up to the stage, we got Sexual Chocolate. We are so off. I'm a little more off than you are, but we are off.
No, but it all fit. I mean, it's all, like you said, it's all pride. You know what I mean? Because it's even when you think about community, right? Love and community.
Yeah.
We have to have pride in. If you have pride in yourself, then it's almost automatic that you must have love and pride in community.
Right.
Because if you don't have pride in the community, then it doesn't exist, right? Because how do you reach out to other people? How do you know that there are other people out there who are just like you?
Exactly.
So you have to have that pride in community, and you have to have that pride in just being who you are.
Absolutely. It's a thing that we have to embrace without going overboard in anything that we do. And and I was watching something on I think it was on Hulu. It was the history of gay pride in the United States, and it was started with. I love that they started with Stonewall, because that's what everyone remembers as the pivotal moment, right? And then they said, and they were like, nope, it started way before Stonewall, and they went to Compton's Donut Shop in San Francisco. And they said it was, it was before Stonewall. It was the drag queens, and at the time they were called transsexuals, drag queens and transsexuals, sex workers in at Compton's at the donut shop, coffee shop, and then they went to, and they even said, wait, but before that, it was the transsexual prostitutes at the gay bookshop around the corner.
There's more.
Yeah, but wait, I was like, whoa, wait, I knew about Compton's. What is this twist? And they were like, and then in San Diego, I was like, whoa, San Diego, hold on now. It was always and whatever the term was that's changed over the years, it was always the transgender or transsexual or whatever. They even used other terms that were less flattering. Transgender, people of color, and drag queens who always started it. And we need to thank them, our transgender siblings who have started this for us in the 50s. I mean, they stood up for us in the 50s. We know about the 60s and the 70s. This was like the early 50s. And we're paving the way even before that, just by living their lives in the skin and the clothes that they wanted to wear, in spite of being told they couldn't, in spite of being forced to not. In California, in Philadelphia, in New York, in places where they were getting killed for doing it, in places we consider to be progressive even then.
Right.
So imagine if they did it in Iowa.
Exactly.
I mean, or God, Jacksonville. I mean, like Jesus. But so they were, they have always paved the way before Stonewall, and to finally have a flag that represents them is key. But they need to be recognized. They need to be thanked. So I'm taking this moment to do that. But they really did pave the way for us. But on that special on Hulu, they were talking about starting the history of pride in the United States, and they said that this pride thing that we have embraced has ebbed and flowed from literal riots to, and I don't begrudge it, but cute little boys in sequined thongs on Bank of America floats. There's a place for that, but after 2020,
let's
rethink it. Let's rethink after 4 years of Trump. Let's rethink it. Even without a pandemic, let's rethink that. Cops in uniforms at Pride.
Yeah.
Deutsche Bank floats. Let's rethink that. I know we need their money in order to have a festival, but do we need their money to have a true pride movement? No,
Right.
we don't.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, but pride is what we make of it. Pride is every day.
It
We
is.
don't need corporate dollars to have pride. We need it to
Nope.
have maybe. I mean, it's arguable. Do we need it to have an event? Maybe.
Yeah.
It's arguable, but do we need it to have pride in our lives? Pride 365? No,
No.
we
And I
don't.
think the more we find or connect with that pride in ourselves and connect with that the pride within each other,
Yeah.
I think the more we'll see that we don't need corporate dollars.
Right.
We don't, you know what I mean? There's especially right here in Jacksonville, there's enough gay folks in Jacksonville
Right.
to be able to come together and pull off whatever kind of pride we want without corporations getting involved, you know what I mean? But it's just a matter of, connecting and accepting one another, because even when you talk about like racism, there's racism within the gay community in Jacksonville. So it's like we have to address all that stuff too. We have to get to a point where we are self-reliant,
Yeah. I think it's really important, and I think I'm going to say it on this show, and I've said it on social media. I think it's really important that Jacksonville move its Pride Festival back to June. I mean, most other cities in the South do it in June. I know the complaint was it's hot. It's hot in October too. It rains.
Exactly.
It rains in October. Every year it rains during Pride in October. It's going to rain in June. It's going to rain in October. It's hot in June. It's hot in October.
Right.
And you know what, though? They do it in Sarasota. They do it in Fernandina. They do it in Alabama. They do it in Louisiana and Tennessee and Georgia. They all do it in June. It's not any hotter or colder or less rainy there. So I say we
and even still, we can make it work. I mean,
Yeah.
there's enough places here to do, spread out events or do it inside or whatever,
Right.
at RAM or whatever.
Right. We need to do it. We need to do it in June, because that's the importance of June being officially recognized by our government as Pride Month. That it may be symbolic, but there's a reason to celebrate it during that month.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't have the Black History Parade in in October.
Right.
Black History Month is February. Let's have the parade in July.
Right.
Juneteenth is now a federal holiday. Let's have the parade in August.
Right.
Why? Why it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
I mean, gay marriage was passed in June. Stonewall was in June. We have our official Pride Month is in June.
Yeah.
What are we doing? I mean, come on. Let's move to October just so Jacksonville can be different. It makes no sense.
Jacksonville's, I don't know. Jacksonville's weird.
And if people want to go to another city's parade, they can go to another city's parade. It's like, I mean, no matter when we have it, it's going to be the same weekend as somebody else's.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So. But you're right though, when it comes to like rethinking, we have to rethink it all. We have to get to the point where we're just not, we can't do the same things that we were doing before. It's just impossible to do the same things. Like this, everything has changed. Literally everything has changed.
The world
we should rethink it. The world has changed. I mean, Jacksonville historically has always been behind with everything. So we got to change that, because Jacksonville's always like the little engine that could, like,
but
we could.
But never really does.
It never really does.
I have to say this too. I love that that Ben Fraser and the local Justice Coalition is pushing to get all the schools changed, the names changed. I love that. I've been supporting it, and getting the a lot of the monuments torn down. I've been supporting that as well. And somebody on his Facebook page said, "Well, what's next? Changing the name of Jacksonville because it was named after Andrew Jackson?" I'm like, yeah. You know what?
Yeah.
One of our beaches is trying to get their name changed, and it's not even because of a racist thing. They just want to change the name. How many times has Green Cove Springs, Fruit Cove, St. John's,
Right.
they've changed their name 1,000 times and rezoned and gotten new zip codes.
Yep.
It wouldn't be hard.
It's just what, it's that a lot of the older crowd, like you were saying before, they want to hold on to, they feel like, oh, well, my history is being taken away from me. And it's just like, no, it's a name. Like, it's not even
like,
it's a name.
but Jacksonville's the largest city in the country. Guess what? It would still be the largest city in the country, no matter what you call it.
It's still gonna be, and it's not like the name hasn't been changed before, because it was Telford at one time.
Right.
So I mean,
and actually, I read somewhere, somebody posted a link, and I did not research it to see if it was true, but Jacksonville, it was Calford, and then it was something else, and then it was Jacksonville.
Yep, it was. I've heard that too, and I can't remember what it was, but yeah. So it's been, the name has changed.
It was that something else for such a short period.
Yeah,
but it was official, but I don't remember what it was.
And I heard someone else say it too. Yeah.
And then Durkeeville. I mean, Durkeeville was an official name for an entire one of the largest sections of Jacksonville, but because it was primarily inhabited by Black people, they just have erased that from the history books.
Same with Hansontown. Hansontown was right over here by Bethel.
And it was 3 cute blonde blue-haired boys who had a #1 song on the pop charts. So you would think they'd want to keep that in the history books. Oh, wrong Hansons. I'm sorry. And they all looked like little Michelle Pfeiffer. So you'd think
they were cute, weren't they? They were so adorable.
I can't call out racism without making it funny.
Right.
If you can't make fun of racists, who can you make fun of?
This is true, and they get mad when you make.
I know they hate it.
It's funny.
They hate it if you make fun of them.
Hansontown was owned by Black people, and it was a Black area, and they had land, and it literally has been completely erased. They're actually trying to get a historical marker now to put there, but
I to me, it's like, what, we are fine with erasing monuments and history unless it's white.
Yeah.
I mean, do we have other than like a little, and I'm completely serious, a little brown plaque with yellow lettering on the side of the highway marking where we slaughtered, but we don't call it that, millions of Native Americans, that instead of saying we slaughtered them, we just call it the memorial section of the highway. Except for that, we don't even acknowledge that Native Americans were ever in most of the country.
Well, the way that they do it.
But there's nothing for Black people
at all.
At all. We just skip over those 200 years.
There's a town outside of Tallahassee, going west towards Panama City.
Okay.
Called Stiff and Ugly, Florida. And Stiff and Ugly that's the name. And if you look it up, there is a Stiff and Ugly, and you can imagine why they named it Stiff and Ugly. But
when you said the name, every muscle in my body got tense. Go ahead.
Yep. There is a Stiff and Ugly, Florida. And the story is that when the settlers founded it, it was there was a Native American there, and he was Stiff and Ugly, and they named it Stiff and Ugly. So there's a place in Florida that exists called Stiff and Ugly, Florida. So yeah. Yep. There's so much.
I want them to start naming. I want all the schools in Duval County that have been slated to be renamed. I'm not even joking. I want Malcolm X High School. I want Billie Holiday Middle School. I want like I want a poll done of like who are the most controversial Black figures who have ever set foot in North Florida. I don't even care if they're political. I don't care if they're P. Diddy High. You want P. Diddy High? Actually, that has a nice ring to it, doesn't it?
I like that. P. Diddy High. He actually might be working on that. But you know, I said in a poem, I remember I was doing like this, I was invited to do this panel discussion about the school names, the changes of the school names. And I said in the poem, and I know that like I kind of heard some ouches in the crowd, but I mean, it's true. I said in the poem, I don't remember the line exactly, but I said, you know, we might as well change it to Adolf Hitler, school number 124, you know, and they were just like, oh my, like, it's no different.
There are people in this town who would be okay with that.
Different.
There are people who would be okay with that.
For the people who were shocked about it, it's just like, what makes it any different? It makes it no different. Just like when it comes to, you know, plantation houses, you would never, ever, ever see a house in Auschwitz that people are using for weddings and ceremonies, but they do it on plantations all the time.
Yep.
You know, you turn these plantations into these extravagant event centers, and it's just like, you know, so come on, you know, so there's a lot that needs to happen in terms of change and all that, but all of it goes back to pride and having pride in ourselves and really just owning who we are. And I think that the more we own who we are, the more that will start to trickle out into the world.
I agree. So because you do everything with the utmost pride, and I know that you have such a presence on stage. I want people to know where they can see you next. I know July 27th.
25th.
Oh, 25th. I'm sorry. I'm glad. Thank you for correcting me. July 25th.
Yeah. So July 25th, the Closet will be back for the second show, 4 to 8 p.m., which will be at JC Restaurant and Supper Club, which is right before Jacksonville University. So 2111 University Boulevard North. So that's the 25th. Every Wednesday, I'm there. I do an open mic, all inclusive for everybody who's looking for a place to perform. It's free. So definitely come check it out. Cool. I'm still doing the podcast. So check out the website, iamlovereigns.live. And that has all my stuff on there.
Very cool. Now you've still got, I know you've got the one book that's still on Amazon. Is the other book, you've got a book and an album on there too, right?
Yeah, so there's two books. Two books are on Amazon. The first book, Random Thoughts of Rain, book 1 is still on Amazon. And then the book that I co-authored, Letters to Our Sisters, is also on Amazon. I have a single that's out on all the digital platforms called Land of the Free, which I released on Inauguration Day. So that's been gaining some traction. So that's been pretty cool. And I'm sure there's all kinds of stuff out there.
And those are also available on your link tree, correct? On your website?
Everything's available on my website. Or you can just, if you Google, and this isn't a flex. It's, if you Google Taryn and Love Reigns, you'll see all kinds of stuff.
Spell out Taryn for us.
Taryn.
Yes. Because a lot of people want to put those 2 R's in there and they can't find you.
Or they want to put an E or an I.
Well, I always ask you to spell it because people mess it up. Then they message me and they're like, I can't find her. And I'm like, she gave you a website. Dang. Go to her website, Linktree. It's on a Linktree.
Yeah, Taryn Warwood. You can look it up. Tary. I'm literally the only Taryn Warwood in the whole world, so I'm pretty easy to find. Somebody asked me. They were like, "Are you the same Mike Vatter who's an architect in Seattle?" I was like, "No." So I Googled myself. I'm like, I thought Michael Vatter. I can understand. Those are two very common names. If you put them together, you're going to get, it's a German last name and the most popular boy's name in the world for the last 50 years. I get it. Yeah. But Mike Vatter, there's like 1,000 just in the United States. Are you serious?
I was like, are you kidding me? I ain't unique. I thought I was unique.
are unique. But they're not you though.
That's
They're
right.
not
They're not me.
They ain't got nothing on you.
Anyway, I so appreciate you being on again. You are just the best. I gushed all over you at the beginning. I don't have time to do it now.
It's okay.
I know we've run over like we always do. So I love you so much.
I love you.
Ma and Pa Hamilton are literally around the corner from me now in Mayport.
Oh,
so
wow.
I know.
Okay.
We have to just, if we just sit on a porch and have a drink.
I'm down. Let's do it.
We just need to do that. So, you know,
I'm gonna text. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna text her and see what, and then we'll figure it out. We'll get.
You know what? And I don't know what. Well, 4th of July they usually get on their bikes and ride. So maybe we can do something.
Right, they're the ones that we got to keep up with.
You know, girl, they retired and jumped on Harleys and they took off.
I'm like, I'm in California.
What happened?
What? Yeah.
So the oldest people on the planet.
Yep.
got on steel hogs and took off. I'm like, what happened? They kicked cancer's ass and said, "Wow,
forget it." Yep. All the time.
And took off. I was like, what the? You're all supposed to slow down.
Yeah, I was like, we got to catch up with them. My goal in life is to be half as amazing as them, because them together, individually, they're amazing.
Oh,
but together, they are definitely a.
I was doing an interview with NPR, sitting in their church when they were over in Springfield.
Yeah.
It was so funny. I wish I couldn't do it justice if I tried. I was sitting there. I was talking to All Things Considered, doing an NPR interview, and they asked me if I was a member of that church, because that's where the interview was taking place, and it made sense. We were there for the Pulse memorial, and I was asked. The reporter asked me if I was a member of that church, and I said no. And Pastor Vicky just about grabbed a candle off the altar and threw it at me. I mean, her jaw dropped, her eyes got big. She was like, I mean, I thought she was gonna faint, and I was like, but I'm not a member of the church. I mean, I come here, I volunteer here, I do things here, and she was like, she didn't say anything because we were live recording.
Yeah.
But I thought she was gonna snatch me, and I was like, what? And so the reporter left, and she came over to me, and she grabbed my sleeve, and she goes, "You are a member of this church." And I was like,
yep.
"What? But I don't come to services here." And she said, "You are a member of this church because you are a member of my family."
Yeah.
And I was like, but
ain't no but, nope.
Yeah, she was like, every time I said but, she goes, but. I was like,
nope.
I said, I'm not a member of this church. I said, I'm not even like, I said, I'm
doesn't matter.
I said, I'm half Jewish. And she goes, Jesus was Jewish.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's why I love her. Like, I'm like, literally, man, like, I try to model my life so much after her, because from the moment I met her and Pop, it changed my life. It really did. I mean, and for them, one of the most memorable moment, I've had a many with them, but one of the most memorable moments I will never forget is seeing them both show up when they were doing the HRO. Yes. And having them, they went to every meeting that they could, and they showed up in their pastoral garb, like they were there, you know what I mean? So to me, that spoke volumes. Not only are you clergy, but you're also older Black folks. Oh man, that was powerful to me. So that meant everything. That meant the world to me, you know.
Jeff and my husband Jeff, for the audience, and our niece, who was living with us at the time, we went downtown to march. I think it was the immigration policy, or maybe guns, something Trump did to make us mad. Something stupid Trump did. Right. We were downtown and holding up signs. It was hot as Hades, and we're marching. and it was the Women's March. That's what it was. The Women's March. And we were downtown, and like 5,000 other people marching along Independence Drive downtown. And we were just exhausted. We'd been there like hours and hours and hours, and we didn't have enough water. We didn't expect it to be that long. Didn't expect a crowd that big. And Jeff was like, "I'm tired." I said, "Baby, I am too." I said, "But we're here till we're done." And Stacy was like, our niece was like, she's like, I got to go pick up my baby because he was at his dad's house. So I got to go pick up my baby. We're like, all right, girl, you go. You got a baby to take care of. We're here till it's done. Jeff was like, I'm going to go with Stacy. I was like, okay, fine. I'm here. Till it's done. And we turn around and there's the Hamiltons, the Pastors Hamilton, older than dirt, older than us. And I say that with love. And they're doing like their 8th lap. Mm-hmm. And Jeff was like, I'm not going. I'm staying. Like, how do we give up if they're out there walking?
Yep.
I mean,
everywhere. They show up for everybody.
She had just beaten cancer again. And I think she just had foot surgery. And we were like, okay, you know what? We're not leaving until they leave. Like
you might go show me up.
no shame. No shame in the game if they're
Listen, they do it all the time, and I love that. I mean, they don't just do it for the gay community; they do it for everybody.
Everybody.
They literally show up for everybody, and that's just like
I have not been to a gay event in Jacksonville since I've met them. That I have not seen them there, and they always put an arm around my neck. They always ask how I'm doing, and if I'm by myself, they ask about everybody that I know, everybody I'm related to that they've met. They know by name. They know by name.
Yep.
How's Jeff? How's Stacy? How's your mom? How's your dad? I'm like, I don't even know. Like I couldn't tell you. I know your mom. Like I know you. I don't know your mom's name. She's just Taryn. Your mom. But I don't know. But I don't remember. She's Mama Raines. I don't know.
That's exactly. Now you know what's funny. I always tell her that. It's like people always ask about Mama Raines.
I know, but
I always say Sharon and Taryn.
I don't remember that. I mean, if I remember everybody's mom's name, Mom, how's Mom? It's just easier. I don't remember my own birthday half the time. I mean, come on.
Right.
But Pastor Vicky knows everybody's in my family. I mean,
everybody, and she does not forget anything, man. Like, and that's just beautiful. Like, she sent the most beautiful message and card to my mom when my aunt passed, and that just, it's amazing. So I want to keep them around as long as I can.
Oh my goodness.
Because if I have control over.
I have to tell you, you mentioned your aunt passing and her reaction. Our friend Marina had passed away. This is right. I had not known the Hamiltons more than 6 or 8 weeks. I mean, we just met them, and we were at their church for the monologues rehearsals for the coming out monologues. And our friend Marina had passed away, and I walked into the church, and Tina was there. Tina Von Wardle was there, and she came up and gave me a hug. Tina did, and because she knew Marina. And she gave me a hug, and she's like, "How you doing?" And I was like, "I'm okay, just still kind of in shock." Marina had just passed, in between rehearsals, so I guess like a week. And and she said, "How you doing?" And I said, "I'm all right, still kind of in shock." And Pastor Vicky wasn't even in the room, hadn't even gotten there yet, and we weren't social media friends yet, Pastor Vicky and I. And she walked in, and I was standing off to the side, kind of running lines with somebody because I was coaching them. And she walked over and she goes, "Baby." I said, "What?" She goes, "Something's off."
Aww.
I said, "What do you mean?" And she goes, "Come here." And she gave me a big hug, and she goes, "What happened?" And I said,
Aww.
"I lost a friend." And she goes, "How you doing?" And I said, not good. And she goes, "Okay." She goes, "You're gonna stay after we're gonna talk." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
I'm like, "Yes, ma'am."
Yes, ma'am. And it was like, okay, I got a new grandma.
Yep. Yeah, and it's so genuine. You know what I mean?
is.
It's not. There's nothing forced about it. It's just.
She just
It's
knew.
amazing. Yeah, and she always does. She.
I know.
Let me not reach out to her after for a while.
You have to
Man.
now. Yeah. She and she and I are on Facebook and Instagram. And we need to get her on TikTok because she would be a hoot.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
I want to see dancing on TikTok.
I need it. So some passive Vicky wisdom too, man.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, but anyway, you reach out to her because I would love to see. I would love the 3 homes to come together and sit down and
do it.
Have a glass of wine or sweet tea or something. And just,
I'm down.
Yes, let's do it. Anyway, I love you so much. Thank you for joining me again.
Of course. Thank you for having me, and please give my love to Jeff.
I will. Thank you so much. And I will play us out, but just please repeat your website for everybody, and that'll be the end.
Yeah, for sure. So it's IamLoveReigns.live, and that's IamLoveReigns.LIVE.
Love you so much. Thank you again.
I love you more.
Have a good day. Bye.
You too. Bye.
Till you bring them to life. I've been too many times on the border.